Hello, this is Josh from Push the Electrons. Today I do something and then stop doing something. There's a Geek, there's a Skateboard. You know, what could go wrong? So first things first, I have made a change. The project I've been working on, that no longer is going to be a project for me. I have grown bored with it, and you'll see from this clip that it won't function. You know, replacing a transformer just isn't going to happen anytime soon. So I've moved on to something else. Instead, what I've decided to do was follow what Jehu has done and create a electric skateboard from scratch, DIY style. So, build montage.
There it is.
Now, there's a couple of things I want to talk about with regards to this skateboard. Probably the biggest thing is I'm not a skater. I have fallen a fair amount of times. I'm not going to become an amazing skater, so I'm learning about this process at the exact same time. I guess what my goal is right now is to create something. It is fun for me to play with. I'm able to do some decent mileage. Oh, I should tell you about mileage about it. I estimate I will get about 10 miles on a charge. I know that's something that Jehu had tried to understand and get to. but he hasn't reported back his numbers just yet. But I have done that. I get about 10 miles on a charge. I'm missing components, so I haven't gotten a full charge yet, and then gotten all the way down to my minimums, which I'm going to set right around 3.3 volts. The speed controllers actually start beeping at me a lot once I get down to around 33 volts in this particular system. So it is a little bit on the slow side when you're on the flats, but that's fine since I'm not a skater, so I will just live with it. It'll be fun. The biggest thing though is I get to go off-road with this thing. That's kind of cool. Here's kind of the features of my board. So probably the biggest thing you can see straight off the bat is I have this strap right here. The battery pack itself is held down with some foam and double-sided tape. You can see here. So it goes double-sided tape, piece of foam, double-sided tape. And that provides enough of a gap so that the battery packs can actually span the curve of that entire board. I don't remember where I got that foam from. I just had it kind of sitting around, but the strap is really, it's kind of on the loose side, but it's there mostly just in case the tape actually fails or something along those lines. It's a secondary way of making sure the battery pack doesn't fall off. I plan on putting a BMS sitting right here eventually. You can kind of see this as a wires nest. You can see here's my charging port plug right now. Eventually that's going to get hooked into the BMS, but so right now whenever I need to charge I need to swap cords around. That's not the end of the world. You can see I have my Coulometer hooked up with its leads going all the way to the front. I need to put a plate over this at some point because this occasionally does pop out when I'm trying to pick up the board by the trucks. Charge port and the power button are right here. Speed controllers are actually upside down from what you may have seen otherwise, because there's this nice metal plate right here to help kind of protect against things, and also it acts as like a cooling component to the electronics underneath, so I want to keep that away from the board and let that heat radiate out externally. So I did just get some of these standoffs right here. But then I also have the cords themselves wrapped and tied down. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave them like this. I tend to want to grab the truck right here for transportation, but that is currently where they sit today. So these still might move around. I don't know, wrap them some way or something along those lines. I have a fuse back here. This is fairly important. I've watched a few videos online about guys making their own boards, and they're all missing a fuse. So I put one in my board because if there's a catastrophic failure, I want that fuse to blow, as opposed to my board burning up or somebody getting hurt or something along those lines. The tape right now is just there for cord control. This might get moved around or move the cords underneath the battery pack, something along those lines. I don't know just yet. We'll kind of have to play with that and see how that looks long term. Eventually, maybe a cover for these guys, just cover for this, get it buttoned down a little bit more, and I'll be good to go long term. But yeah, that's my board. Works well. I'm going to include a list of all the materials I used to actually build it out in the description below. Have a good day, folks.